Disclaimer. Twigs Cafe Radio and twigscaferadio.com and its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions, statements, or claims made by the talk show hosts or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the station.
And we are live in beautiful Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania. We're at the top of Twigs Restaurant and Cafe, and we are welcoming you today to the Jasikoff and Friends Hour. This is Lori Bogadin. And Lou, do we have you on?
Hey, we do, Lori. How you doing?
My cheat sheet worked. I'm so excited.
And remind everybody that they could email us at twigscaferadio@gmail.com or give us a call at 570-836-2920. You see, I have a little cheat sheet here also. So
yeah, right.
All good stuff.
Yes, please
Andy
do.
In studio today, everything is starting to fall back into place.
I'm telling you, Lou, you can just stay down there, drive down to the Keys, get your popsicles out.
It is unbelievable. I mean, you can probably hear my voice. It's like I'm starting to lose my voice. My body doesn't know how to handle stress-free environment. I mean, I think that's what it is. But then I could get used to it, Lori.
Well, you're purging. You're purging all the stress that's so.
There you go.
We also have today in studio my favorite person, Indra Lahiri.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right, Andy. That's right.
I know, Andy. Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, I know. All this time we spent up here.
Out of mind. There you go.
Yeah.
I should have said Andy who, Lou. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. All good stuff, Lori.
Indra's here with us today from the Indraloka Sanctuary, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce her and let her talk a little bit about the sanctuary. Let her go ahead. You're going to do better than I'm fumbling around with words, Indra.
Okay, well, hello. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and be here with you all today. I really appreciate it.
We're so glad to have you. Very glad to have you.
I'm Indra Lahiri. I am the founder of Indraloka Animal Sanctuary. We are a nonprofit 501c3 animal sanctuary that is dedicated to rescuing farm animals, and we take them from all kinds of situations: abuse, neglect, farms that have been shut down by the Humane Society, hoarding situations, what have you, and we give them a home for the rest of their natural lives. Right here in Mahoopany in Northeastern Pennsylvania.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful sanctuary. The animals are so lucky to have you on their side, and I'm so impressed every time I go up. But tell us what I wanted to have you talk about also is where you came from and what made you get into that and what brought you to Northeastern Pennsylvania to do this. So,
well, I think what brought me to Northeastern Pennsylvania, honestly, is the beauty of it. It's the land itself. I was living in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and I certainly
beautiful area.
Was very happy there. But somewhere around the time I got my 50th animal, I was realizing I needed some more space, and started looking around for properties. And just around that time, in Bucks County, in the newspaper, the property that the sanctuary is currently located on was advertised. I didn't really know anything about Northeastern PA, so I drove up here and took a look at the property, and I just fell in love with the area. I fell in love with the Endless Mountains, but I thought, I can't buy the first property that I see. So I found myself a wonderful realtor, and she very patiently took me to 32 other properties.
How many are?
32.
Oh, God, that's what you said.
And after seeing all of those, I went back to the first one I looked at and said, this is the one.
That's how it always works, right?
Yeah.
Very, very, very neat. And even before that, Indra, because I know that you were in the corporate world, and that's that to me, you don't always get a chance to meet somebody that's actually done what you've done. So tell everybody a little bit about that.
Well, in my former lifetime, Lori, I think that's what you're referring to. Sometimes I forget it existed. I was actually a corporate consultant, and I actually did that up until quite recently, along with the sanctuary. but I was running an organization called Global Inclusion Strategies, and we specialized in cultural competence. So what that means is that we'd go into corporations and we would help the leadership there better understand how they could be effective across cultures, whether it was effectiveness in terms of leading their own people, bringing in new people, or, externally with customers and clients and stakeholders and community members and things like that. Just helping them to better understand how to navigate across cultures.
Across that. And just one day you decided, you got in your convertible and drove out to Northeastern Pennsylvania, and that was it. Well, rest is history.
It wasn't as smooth a transition as that. I was always rescuing animals all of my life. And while I was doing corporate consulting was when I actually founded the sanctuary. And up until 2014, I was doing both. So I was actually using the consulting business to fund the sanctuary. What ended up happening is that the sanctuary just kept growing and growing and growing, sort of, far beyond what I had expected. What I discovered is that, people love animals and they want to have an opportunity to spend time with them. And so the kids started flocking to the sanctuary, and then more humane police called with more animals in need, and things just kept happening. And so it finally got to a point where if I was going to nurture that, I needed to spend full time on it.
Full time doing that.
Yeah, so I retired from my consulting life, although we are looking at opportunities within the sanctuary to use some of those consulting skills. We do corporate team building, we do cultural competence opportunities and training and things like that, right there with the animals.
And you know what? And I'd kind of forgotten about that until you mentioned it. And I thought that was such a great idea when you were telling me about that before. So go ahead a little bit into that in case anybody is interested in it, because I really think it's a good opportunity.
It really is. It's, I'm sure you've heard before about these sort of very popular executive training programs. Excuse me.
What you're trying to do is bring groups in that would go around, stay at the sanctuary and take some of these leadership skills and courses right within the sanctuary itself. And I just think that is a really neat idea. People get to see the animals and work with them. If I had an opportunity, I know I would come out. Andy, would you take it? Would you take it if?
Well, yeah, I've seen a lot of the stuff about that myself, and I've got a lot of interest in talking about these things. And I actually saw something recently about they're bringing like animals into prisons, and kind of teaching like sensitivity trainings to prisoners, and it's having just an absolutely remarkable impact on them. So if it can fix a criminal, it can fix a corporate CEO and some people in that world.
And they say, the animals, they don't judge, they don't hold anything against. They don't care where you're coming from or what. They just want to please. So.
And what's so fascinating about farm animals in particular is that they're so sensitive that their hearing is so good. For example, that they can hear your heartbeat. They can hear the change in your heartbeat. So, and they can smell so well that they can smell the pheromones that we release as we have different emotions. So because of that, say, for example, we're doing a leadership development training, Lori. We can ask someone to lead a group of humans or non-humans. We could ask them to lead a group of horses. We could ask them to lead a group of pigs. We could ask them to lead a group of humans. But what happens is that we can help them learn better what's happening inside them. Because as humans, we also recognize each other's emotions and discomforts on very subtle levels. We don't actually always realize it.
So then we can take that ability that the animals teach us with that and put it into our leadership skills, as far as I'm understanding it, into our leadership skills in corporate world or your nonprofit, whatever meetings, whatever.
Exactly. So in other words, because the animals will react so much more visibly to a human. For example, if I ask you to get that cow to walk into that corner of the pasture without putting a lead rope on them and leading them there, then they're going to decide whether they feel like following you or not based on the leadership skills that you exhibit. And we'll teach you some things to do that. But therefore, if that cow won't follow you, you know that there's something going on inside you that's causing that. It tends to be, and research is showing this to be true, that the same things that we react to as humans that make us determine what is it that makes me want to do what this person says or be inspired by this person. Why am I drawn to that person but not to this one? It's all in our confidence and it's all in our internal emotions, right? So the animals help us reflect that better in a safe way because they're very, very, very gentle. They're all prey animals. They're not animals who hurt others.
You know what? And that's an interest. I found that very interesting. So touch on that. I wouldn't. You'd be able to explain it much better than me.
Well, farm animals, animals that you would find typically on a farm that are typically farmed, are all what we call prey animals versus what humans are, or dogs or cats, for example, are predators.
Okay.
So because of that, they're much more subtle. They are designed to better be able to read the subtleties of body language and emotions and things like that and react to those because they need to stay safe.
And for survival. Yeah, and that was really interesting. When we had did a class, and I want you to get back to the leadership also because I think that's so important. But we did a class here at Twigs, and it was communicating with animals. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect, whether it was going to be, really out there or so dry that, I didn't know we wouldn't be able to finish. But it was so amazing, and you were so in tune to the animals. And you had told us a little bit about the time period and how you got to form that bond with the animals.
Yeah. So I actually spent the first 5 years of the sanctuary running it alone. So I was living out there, and if anybody's familiar, those of you who are in Northeastern Pennsylvania are familiar with the Endless Mountains, there are some areas where you can live pretty quietly. And the sanctuary is located in one of those. And because I had moved here from, several hours away, I didn't really know anybody here yet. And because I worked from home doing my consulting work, my interactions with other humans were sort of limited for that 5-year period. But because I had 100 animals at that time, my interactions with the animals were constant because I was the only person caring for them. So as a result of that, without a lot of other people around, I started to be able to learn their language. Is they don't speak in words like us, and as we talked about in the class, they speak much more subtly than us. Although that's the base level that humans communicate on as well. So it really helped me understand myself and my fellow humans better by learning and just being around these creatures and, having the opportunity to observe them for hours on end in silence.
Yeah, amazing. And I always said, I never lived on a farm or anything like that, but cats and dogs growing up and everything like that. And I always said they must have a language, and we know that.
Yes.
So maybe when we come back after the break, you can talk to us a little bit about this language.
Sure.
And we're back to Jasikoff and Friends at Twigs Radio Cafe, or Twigs Cafe Radio. Sorry about that, Lou. And we're with Indra from Indraloka Sanctuary, and we were talking a little bit about communication. All of us are over here we don't know if it's allergies or colds or what they are, so we're not communicating all so well, but we're doing all right. So tell us a little bit more about that. And I think Andy has some questions also for you, Indra.
Yeah, so we were talking about the animal communication and intelligence class that we did last year.
It was amazing.
And we're talking about doing another one again soon, so keep your eyes out for that, everybody who's interested. So what we do in the class is we actually do everything from, we talk about subtle body language, and we look at examples of those. We talk about how animals are able to actually visualize things, some of the research that's been done around the way that their intelligence works. And the way that they communicate with each other, and use that research, that scientific research, to find ways that we can communicate with them in their own language.
And they have to. They have to have their own. You can't teach a dog no and sit and get the ball if they don't understand to I think we on a whole don't give them enough credit. So
yeah, I had a couple questions, Andra.
Yeah.
Now I was, when you first sat down here, I was under the impression that this was like a pet rescue, like a dog and cat and things. It's not that. It's is it all farm animals? How many animals do you have? What are all the kinds of animals you have?
Yeah.
Things like that.
It's a good question. Thanks for bringing it up. Our focus is rescuing farm animals. We have a total of 200 animals at the sanctuary right now, and when additional animals, especially farm animals, come in that need places, when we don't have room for them, we are able to place them within a network of sanctuaries around the country. With that said, we do have a number of cats, actually. We have...
Well, you need them on a farm.
We have lots and lots and lots of cats because a lot of them show up all the time. We actually have somewhere around 90 right now.
Wow.
And all of those cats are spayed and neutered. We work very hard to make sure we trap new cats as they come in and get them fixed. And they all, we found, have unique relationships with the rescued farm animals. And often, when an animal comes in, I'll give you the example of Jeremiah, who's one of our more famous rescues, a pig who came in literally terrible condition. He was starving. He had pneumonia so badly he had lost the lining to his airways. He was just spewing blood every time he breathed. He was nothing but bones, just in terrible shape, and his recovery was touch and go for a while. We didn't know if he was going to survive. And what we discovered was that every time, if we had to leave him for even just a moment to go call the vet or to go get his medicines prepared, multiple cats would emerge and show up on his bed and just lay with him and comfort him and stay with him so that he was literally never alone. And to this day now, Jeremiah is a strong, healthy, happy pig, and he has a number of cats who live with him and the other pigs, and just they get along beautifully. So the cats actually help rescue the other animals.
Well, and where do you get like a rescue pig or a rescue cow or a rescue goat? I mean, where do they come from? Are they abused animals and people taken away from farms and things like that?
Yes, absolutely. You'd be surprised at the number of times that happens. So while the humane laws are not at all as strict for farm animals as they are for dogs and cats, there are still multiple occasions where humane police actually have to go in and either close down farms for cruelty or take animals from individuals that are hoarding them, where they're really just not able to care for them properly. And so in those situations, when humane police call us, and they might call us from all over the country because there's not that many places that take farm animals, we always make sure that we either help them by taking the animal ourselves or by placing them elsewhere, because one of the main concerns is that often these humane police have nowhere else to turn when they're trying to rescue, an abused cow or an injured goat or somebody like that. And as a result, those animals often don't get rescued. They end up getting euthanized when they could have lived full lives.
And of the 200 animals that you have, like, what do you have? A certain number of cows, chickens, pigs? What do you like?
We do.
What's your inventory, so to speak? Or your
We have horses and cows. We have pigs. We have goats. We have sheep. We have chickens. We have turkeys. We have ducks. We have geese. We have peafowl. And as I mentioned, we have cats. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out.
How big of a farm is it?
It's 30 acres.
Okay.
Yeah.
So plenty of room to... Oh, wow. Yeah, that's plenty of room for that many animals.
We actually are looking for a larger piece of property. We'd like to stay in the area, but we definitely could use more land so that we could rescue more animals.
And within saying that, I'm hoping your neighbors are listening, but I know that there is the availability of some, if you should get donations for land or anything like that.
That would certainly be wonderful. Yeah, and that would be a great opportunity for someone who perhaps wanted to donate to get a tax break from that, or be freed from the taxes, the property taxes and that sort of thing. And there's all kinds of ways that we can work things out with them where they might even be able to live on their property for the rest of their lives and yet reap the tax benefits.
So if you have 200 acres or more and would like to donate, Indra's right here, and I'll tell you, it's a great cause. What tell the story, Indra, if you would, about how you took care of the cow that had come in, and I can't remember, was it Betsy?
Are you thinking about Mookie, the little baby?
The baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Mookie came to us. It was a year ago, September, and he had actually been. He had been born on a pasture where the people didn't realize he had been born, and they shipped the mother off for slaughter. And so the baby was there on the pasture without a mother, and the other cows didn't do anything to help him. So as a result, he was starving on the pasture, and we got a call asking for help. So we went and we got Mookie, and he was in terrible shape. He was very, very sick. And when we brought him back to the sanctuary, Penny, who was an elderly cow at that time, she was almost 30 years old at that point, and she had been with us for 7 years and not pregnant during that time. So, of course, cows, like any other species, do not produce milk when they've not had a baby. Right. Penny started lactating when she saw this starving calf and actually tried to nurse him. Unfortunately, because of her age and her health, she experienced complications, and we had to stop her from nursing him. But she did continue. We bottle fed him, and she continued to mother him in a lot of other ways and offered him a lot of comfort.
And offered that. And I just found that to be so amazing that quickly, and that the mothering instinct and the nurturing.
Yeah.
I had a really nice opportunity several times to come up and see the animals. So why don't you tell everybody, if they wanted to find you on the internet, how they would do that?
Yeah, and actually, if you want to find us on the internet, you can see that whole video of Mookie and Penny.
That's right. She's wonderful.
So it's simple. It's indraloka.org, and that's INDRALOKA.org. That's a Sanskrit word. It's the name of the heaven for the gods. And actually, Mookie is also based on the word moksha, another Sanskrit word, which means liberated soul or liberated being.
Ah, nice. Tell us we probably should have ended with the happy story. What is the case that has touched you the most? The one that kind of just sticks out as...
Oh, wow. That's a very difficult question, Lori, because I have to tell you that each one touches me at the moment that it's happening. Certainly, Penny and Mookie was a beautiful sight to see. That compassion of all the cows, really. The whole herd of cows was actually crying, and I don't know if people know this, but they cry actual tears when they cry. So they actually were crying when they saw this suffering calf.
I'm going to cry, Indra.
I think out of all of those, it might have been Jeremiah, just because, when he's the pig that I talked about before, and again, you can see a video of him on our website as well. But when Jeremiah came in, he was so sick. We literally didn't know if he would just even make it through the first night. He was so weak. He couldn't lift his head to eat or drink at all. We had to feed him with a syringe. But the thing that moved me most about Jeremiah was, as we were lifting him out of the back of the humane police officer's car, he was clearly frightened, but he was too weak to move. And we brought him into the barn, and we had created this bed for him with all this hay and all these blankets and heat lamps, because it was very, very cold. It was February, and not February like this one. It was 2 years ago, much colder February. So we had created this beautiful bed for him, and we laid him in the bed, and we put his head on a pillow, and he opened his eyes just the littlest bit that he could barely manage to open. He looked at us, and he grunted this little sigh, this little, I'm safe now. And, and he trusted us from the first moment, despite the fact that he had literally never in his life been treated with a kind touch or a kind word or even the basic food and water that he needed to survive. So that innocence and that willingness to trust really
after all of
me.
That. Yeah. And they're just such beautiful spirits.
They are.
Yes.
How do you do all your, is your funding like strictly voluntary, or are there grants out there that you get? How do you fund yourself?
That's a really good question. We are 100% funded by just individual donors, just people who care about animals, who literally are from all over the world, and they share whatever they can. Maybe $5 a year, it may be $100 a year, but every little bit we're just so careful with, and we just make it stretch and we make it last, and we do what we need to do to take care of these animals.
Take care of them. Amazing.
Do you get any of the local farmers or anything give you hay for feed, or any other kind of feed and things like that? Make donations to you in kind like that?
A lot of the farmers in our area are really supportive of the sanctuary. They are so appalled by the things that can happen to animals. Almost everybody,
because most
feel that
take
way.
Very good care. It's
so they do what they can. They can't always. It's not like there's a lot of farmers out there with a lot of extra to donate, but certainly they'll come and they'll help. We had a cow down, and we had several people willing to come over and help us get her back up, which is no easy feat. Or, when things like that happen, they'll bring their equipment and help us dig that pond that the ducks need, or, do the things that need to be done, just like they do with each other, just, sharing and supporting neighbors.
And if people wanted to donate, they could go to the website, and I'll put that up on Facebook. And I'm working on getting links for all the guests that have been on and stuff like that. So keep an eye out, or give us a call at 570-836-2920 if you have a question for Indra. Indra, the one thing that I was going to ask you is, because you are so close with the animals, you have taken on a vegan lifestyle, and I just thought maybe you could touch base on what that means and the difference between vegan and vegetarian, or a vegetarian and that type of thing, because there's a big difference.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So my belief is that these animals are our friends, and that they have so much to offer us in terms of so many things that we can learn from them, and just so much richness in the relationship with them, just like we have with a cat or a dog or a horse. And so I have made a commitment never to use an animal for any reason, just like I never use a human animal for any reason, right? So, Lori, you're my friend, so I would never look to ask anything of you other than just being my friend and just appreciating who you are. And so I've made a decision to live what a lot of people call a vegan lifestyle, which is that I never use animals. So I don't wear leather. I don't wear silk. I don't eat honey. I don't eat any dairy products. I don't eat any eggs. I don't eat any meat, or sometimes people don't think of fish as meat, so I don't eat any fish either, anything like that. I just, not even wool, right? I just want the animals to be purely my friends and not to be used for any purpose whatsoever. And I think they appreciate it.
I'm sure they do. Is it difficult? Because when you kind of give the list, I think to myself, well, what do you eat and what do you wear? That type of thing.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people ask that, and it's so much easier than you would think. And I spent years as a vegetarian. So a vegetarian, you asked that question, was somebody who doesn't eat meat, but they might still eat dairy or eggs. I spent years doing that and just dreading the day that I was going to give up cheese. Oh no, how was I going to do that? And then when I did, I found it was so easy. First of all, there's so many healthy plant-based options out there. If you don't want to give up cheese, you don't have to. Miyoko's Kitchen in California is an online, just one of many, crafter of plant-based cheeses that are absolutely fantastic. They rival the very best dairy cheeses that you would have. So there's lots of options, but also I found I was never very interested in food before I gave up all those things. And then I discovered a whole world of tastes, so many wonderful vegetables and plant-based foods to eat. I've never had the variety in my diet that I have now. And the same is true with clothing. There's many, many options out there of, just plant-based fibers for clothing.
That is, it sounds difficult to me, but I think you're right. I think the probably is more colorful, and you almost go down a different path that opens up so many other doorways and into different things.
For me, because of my beliefs and my values, and because of who I am and what I've chosen to do with my life, for me, this is living my truth. So that made it much easier, because it was the right path for me to take, because I knew that it wasn't right for me to be doing those other things. Yeah. And I will say, if there are others out there who feel that way, and they don't know how to make that transition, but they feel that it would be aligned with their values to do so, there's lots of resources and help out there. And if you get on our website, just email us, and we'll connect you with all kinds of links.
All right, and Holly's giving me the let's vibe Tunkhannock with the beautiful Indra from Indraloka Sanctuaries. This is Jasikoff and friends, and give us a call if you have a question or anything. It's 570-836-2920. And I just was going to quickly, before you get back on, tell a story about Brittany. My girlfriend, Brittany Lopes, and I were at the sanctuary, and it was winter cold. We're trying to get the car out, and I got it stuck. And we had thought that if we could rock the car back and forth, that eventually we'd get it off. It was on a piece of ice, and it just kept getting deeper and deeper. And there was maybe 8 cattle, and one picked his head up, and he's looking. Now they're way across the field, and picked his head up, and he was looking. And pretty soon another one kind of popped his head up. Then like all 8 of them were looking at us, and they trotted over to the to the fence, and it was a riot. We couldn't stop laughing. It was just so cute. So if anybody gets a chance to get out to see the sanctuary, please do so. And Indra, I think you had wanted, and I would love for you to talk about some of the stuff going on at the sanctuary. And Andy, I don't know if you have any other questions yet. All right?
Yeah, well, that was a perfect story, because there's always an adventure when you come and visit.
Absolutely.
And there's lots of opportunities to come and visit. So we actually have monthly events from April through November, and they're all on the website, just indraloka.org/events. You can find them, and so we call them Nurture and Nourish Days. And once a month, there's an opportunity to interact with the animals on a really personal basis. So it might be a pig pampering day. It might be a Happy Hens day. It might be a Hug a Horse day. But lots of opportunities to get involved and interact with the animals, and then have a fantastic picnic lunch.
Nice.
So that's great fun.
Nice.
And we also, this is brand new, nobody knows about it. I'm going to announce it here.
Exclusive.
It's not even on the website yet. But
Hear that, Lou? I just got an exclusive for you, all right?
This is an exclusive. We are about to start a fantastic new program for people who have never visited the sanctuary before. It's called You Can't Buy Love, But It Pays to Visit. We have a donor that is so convinced that your life will be changed when you visit Indraloka Animal Sanctuary that he has committed to giving $5 to every new person to visit the sanctuary.
Wow. How nice.
Yeah.
How wonderful.
So that's going to start in April. So starting in March, on the website, there will be an opportunity to sign up for tours or for the monthly events. And if you have never been to Indraloka before, you can get $5 when you come.
Well, that is a perfect
How many
time.
people do you get through, like in an average season? Do you get a good number of visitors?
That's a really good question, and we have been terrible about tracking it.
Yeah.
I can tell you that our events last year, every event was sold out.
Oh, wow.
Which was fantastic, but we do keep them small because we don't want to scare the animals, and we want to also make sure people have good quality interaction while they're there. But this year we're going to start tracking our visitors, so we'll be able to better answer that if you ask me again next year.
But where do they, like, how far, do you know how far people have come from to visit you?
Yeah, people come from all over the place. I believe the furthest that they ever came from was Poland. And by the way, for those of you who are not local, we have a beautiful place to stay right next door. So contact us about that too. So we're good for out-of-town guests as well. A lot of our visitors, though, to answer you, come from Philadelphia, New York, and of course all around the Endless Mountains.
Wow, that's great.
Nice. Well, that is a very nice. It's a nice project, and I'm anxious to see now how many people. It's very cool. One of the things too that I thought was really neat was that the animals know when certain people are coming and get excited, like when it's Lettuce Day and stuff like that. And I thought maybe you could just touch on that a little bit.
So we have a couple of times a week that we have produce donated to us, which is very kind. And actually, Twigs Cafe is one of the places that has donated produce in the past, and we've been so grateful. But when it's on a regular basis, like there's the Wegmans in Dixon City actually donates every Saturday and Monday. So the animals know the sound of the car, of the volunteers who go and get that produce and bring it, and they get so excited. But I'll tell you, they get excited for any volunteer who comes regularly that they get to know and that they get to experience. So we have people who come once a week and maybe just groom the animals or just visit with them or maybe feed them or give them fresh water or whatever. And it really is nice to start to develop those individual relationships.
Well, yeah, and even with the event that we did, you touched a little bit on the animal communication, and we did a couple of sections where you had us test our abilities to see whether or not we could answer some questions, and it was really neat because everybody in the group touched on something, and that were able to pick up. I don't know if it was vibes. I mean, maybe you could explain what that is, but a connection with the animals. I mean, it really is a deep connection.
It really is, and the more time you spend with them, the deeper that connection can go.
Yeah, and when do you accept people to come in? Like if somebody wanted to get on there, is that on your website or are there certain days?
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Yeah, so if you want to volunteer, you can simply email volunteer@indraloka.org, and we'll set you up with an application and an interview. And then there's a training process if we all decide to move forward. For visitors, you can visit indraloka.org/visit, and you'll see starting in March there'll be a calendar where you can actually sign up for your visit. So you book an appointment in advance to make sure there's somebody who has time to take you around and introduce you to everybody. And, of course, events as well are another opportunity.
Yeah. And then what's really, again, quickly, or not quickly, I guess, we have all the time in the world, but you do the one event at Thanksgiving, and that's always just so much fun to hear about and watch on Facebook and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's our big event of the year. We call it Thanksgiving, and I believe, again, this year it'll be the first Sunday of November. And so what that is, it's a wonderful family-friendly event where we have lots of different live music playing at different parts of the sanctuary and opportunities for people to walk around and visit with the animals and interact with them. And then there is it's a big party, basically. There's a huge meal involved, a wonderful delicious meal that was catered last year by Miss Rachel's Pantry in Philadelphia, which does farm-to-table organic foods.
Nice.
And so, there's usually an awards presentation and just lots of fun, especially for families and kids. It does sell out fast, though. So that's because, again, we do limit the number of people to make it more quality for the ones who are able to come and interact with the animals.
Neat.
I'm looking at your website here, Indra, and you have a bunch of a staff of people here. Are there other people other than you on the farm, or are these people like just kind of consultants from different areas? Are they all staffed there?
No, we have a staff. We have a team, which is fantastic. We didn't used to, as I said, it used to be all me.
Okay.
But we have a fantastic team of people that work very hard to make it a wonderful life for the animals and to make it a wonderful experience for children's groups and educational programs and for visitors who come through.
And they all are resident up in Mahoopany?
No, actually, one of our staff members is in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you still are living in the home on the property, and so you almost have like 24/7 all the way around, volunteers and animals and everything.
Yeah. It's a full and busy and fun life.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you toot your own horn here for a couple of minutes and let us know. There's been so many different events you've been to and awards and different things. So go ahead, tell us all about how wonderful you are.
Gosh, well, I don't actually know what you want me to say.
Well, there was the one in particular that I'm thinking of is, and I can't, and I'm going to be at a loss now, was you had gone to talk to, I think it was quite a few people. They had asked you to come and do
Yeah, I mean, I do speaking engagements, so it might be one of those. So we've had some wonderful opportunities to go and share the stories about the animals at the National Animal Rights Conference and the International Animal Rights Conference, and I've done a number of other speaking engagements, at colleges and universities and corporations and things like that. One thing, I'll tell you one thing I am excited about.
Okay.
Are the stories on the blog. And you can find those
yeah.
just going to the website and clicking on stories. And what was really wonderful was this year we were actually given an award as the best business blog in Northeastern PA. So I was proud of that, because next to the animals, the stories are very close to my heart. And of course, it's an opportunity for me to share with everybody these wonderful experiences with the animals.
And you don't you give the credit to the animals, but the way you put the stories together, you can, anybody that doesn't have a chance to get out to see the sanctuary, if any of the stories that you read, it's like you're right there. They're beautifully written.
Oh, thank you.
Very
Thank you.
nice.
I have wonderful inspiration.
There you go. There you go.
And I see you can sponsor individual animals. Is that, do you do it by class, or like someone can say, I like Jeremiah, I want to donate specifically to Jeremiah and that cause?
Yeah, people can do either one. So they might come to us and say, hey, I want to sponsor a goose, and we choose the goose. Or they might say, yes, I'm in love with Jeremiah, or I want to sponsor Houdini the cow, or I want to, somebody specific. And they actually get the opportunity to get updates about that animal. They get the opportunity to come and visit those animals and build relationship with them. And they really, really help us. The monthly sponsors are a huge part of why we're able to do this work, because we know that, we're not in it alone. We have the help and support of others who care about them as well, and who can give a little bit of their hard-earned money to help support them.
And like you had said, it any amount can make a big difference.
It really does.
Yeah. It can help save one more animal. And
absolutely.
Yes. So go ahead, go through the information on how they can get a hold of you and where to find you. And I'm also going to try to get that on Facebook and get you linked into the website also.
So it's super easy. You can just go onto our website, www.indraloka.org. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram. I think that's everything. Yeah. And all of those are Indraloka AS.
Oh, okay.
So that's a really fun way to see what's happening, to see some fun pictures of the animals, and get some daily doses of happiness. Yeah,
your new website also looks very nice. I know it's probably been up and running a little longer but it was new for me when I got on it.
Thank you.
And it looks fantastic. I don't know who did it, but they worked hard on it.
And when do you start? When do you kind of open to the public again? I guess you're closed kind of to the public during the winter.
We are. We're using this winter to get ready for the droves of people that are going to come and visit us. So we're getting the property all ready and planning how we're going to do it, and getting our volunteers all trained and ready to introduce people to the animals. So we will open up again on April 1st.
April 1st. Well, I know that I'll be visiting, that's for sure.
Fantastic. We look forward to it.
Yeah, and just anything that we can do, we'll get it out. We'll keep pushing it out there, get everybody new, and we'll take full advantage of the generosity of your donor. That's fabulous. So.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, Indra, thank you so much for coming on. Anytime, and I'm sure Lou will agree. He is off, and that's why. Oh, you're on. Okay, go ahead. Do you have any questions for Indra?
No. It was a great interview, and congratulate you, Lori. That's 2 exclusives in 2 days. You got an exclusive from the chamber yesterday about some of their new stuff, and now with your current guests. So I don't know. Maybe Andy. Maybe there's an offering here to start a new show for Lori.
Don't get too excited. All of Andy's questions were good ones. But
no, it was a great interview and a great insight on everything that's going on up there. And we'll definitely do a story again on this, and certainly promote what you have going on up there, and especially with these new donors that you have that are going to put up some money, and we'll see if we could help
spread the word.
Spread the word. Yeah, that's exactly right, guys.
And maybe we're also trying ourselves on our end to be able to do some, what would it be called, like on the spot? What is that called? Like from location, on location. So maybe this summer we'll be have all that together and come up and do it from the
That would
From
be
the
fun.
sanctuary. That
That'd
would
be
be
fun
really
to have
fun.
the animals
Get
be able to
better.
talk to the audience.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Go ahead, Lou. I'm sorry.
No, I said we just keep getting better there and keep improving our services, and we're certainly looking forward to be doing on-site, broadcasts. So that'd be fantastic. Absolutely.
And if we get up there, we might all be out of a job. We'll have Mookie on one microphone and
Yeah.
Daisy on the other one. Yeah. So they probably have more to say, more than we do. So, so Indra, thank you so much again, and I wish you the best of luck. And
It's been my pleasure.
like you
Thank
said,
you for having me.
I hope that they come in droves in April. So, Lou, how are you? How are you doing down there?
Good.
You
All good.
Good.
All good, Lori. Yeah, and coming up is sanity check. So you got one more segment to work through here later on. I believe in the last segment of sanity check, and the same with tomorrow. We're going to run the Roger Stone interview half today and then half tomorrow. Tomorrow will be about his new book, Jeb and the Bush Crime Family. And then later today is Hillary, and what he has to say about that, if I have that correct?
Yes, and it's a wonderful interview that you had with him, and a chance for everybody that hadn't gotten a chance to listen to it, to hear it. It's going to be played in two parts.
It's eye-opening for sure.
Yes,
yeah.
it is. Yes, it is.
He's certainly bringing up some questions that need to be asked of certainly these two powerhouses that have been part of the Republican and Democratic Party for sure. But as we roll into a sanity check, I think what we start off with was we haven't really talked about Andy's hearing that was on Thursday. I would like to talk a little bit about that, Laurie, if that's okay, about what the ramifications of what Andy's doing. He did a fantastic job, and I want to congratulate him a little bit publicly. I was very proud not only of how he presented himself, his knowledge of the law, but really proud of with everything that we're doing on Twigs Cafe Radio, with the people that are involved with all this, and our whole team is we should take some pride in what we're doing. But we'll start off with Andy Fearing there, and certainly we didn't finish up with the caucus stuff. Rand Paul has decided to drop out. We could certainly talk about that. You also posted a video that says "So sorry," and that's all about the environment. And so we have plenty of stuff to talk about. So I guess as you head into looking at the time, so I guess it's almost ready for sanity check. So when we come back, we could start right off with Andy, if that's okay.
Sure.
Right?
It's your show, Lou. I'm gonna let you have it.